I've been looking for a single piece of hardware that removes the mouse from my cockpit, and this panel does it. Almost. Because there's one design choice on this unit that WingFlex needs to get right. And I'm going to tell you exactly what that is before you spend $1 on it. The DAP 500 is a physical autopilot panel built for GA. Altitude, heading, vertical speed, all physical knobs and all physical buttons. It's $139 on launch, and before anyone says that's steep, I'll show you exactly whether that price holds up by the time we get to the verdict. But let's talk about why something like this even exists, because if you fly GA in Flight Sim, you know the problem. You're in IFR conditions, you're monitoring radio calls, managing the heading bug, and the altitude selector all at the same time. And you're doing all of this with a mouse. Every time that mouse moves, your eyes leave the instruments. That's not a workflow. That's a liability. So I tested this in a bunch of aircraft, in active low visibility IFR conditions, and here's what immediately changes. The heading adjustments. Instantly, it becomes natural. No mouse movement, just my hand using the actual heading bug. The altitude selector is the same. Nav mode, approach mode, dedicated physical buttons that mimic a real GA autopilot panel, which means it comes naturally. You can use this without looking at it while keeping your eyes on the actual instruments. And the setup for once is exactly what it should be. USB in, Flight Sim recognizes it immediately as a HID device, which means you can go straight in, mapping it to whatever you want. But if you want to dive into an aircraft that is already supported day one, all you need to do is download the WingFlex software, and you're done. For Flight Sim, that's about as plug and play as it gets. But here's the question that actually matters. Does physical tactile feedback make you a more precise pilot? Or is it just satisfying to flick switches? The answer depends on how you fly. For precise IFR approaches, yes. The physical detents on the heading knob mean exact incremental adjustments without breaking your instrument scan. For casual VFR, the precision gain is marginal, but the immersion difference is noticeable straight away. What it consistently reduces is interruptions. In a 30-minute IFR session in Flight Sim, I touched the mouse 0 times for the autopilot. That's the real metric. Now, where this unit separates itself from most autopilot panels is in the price range. It's not a dedicated autopilot controller. Technically, it's a HID device, the same class as a keyboard or an Xbox controller, which means Flight Sim, MobiFlight, and FSUI PC all see it natively without any additional software. No middleman needed. What that unlocks is complete remapping. You're not locked into autopilot functions. Every button on this panel can be assigned to any aircraft and any command, which means you can literally map this to a blimp. Set the vertical speed knob to the thrust vectoring, you've got the heading, and why not change the altitude button to the ballast? This is not a GA only device. The GA layout makes it an obvious choice for that, but the hardware itself is limited by your imagination. But now we get to the problem, and this is the one that almost brings the whole thing down. The vertical speed knob. In a real autopilot unit, the vertical speed wheel has light resistance, with stable detents every couple of millimeters. But on my unit, which I need to say is a pre-production unit, it has a significant amount of resistance, which makes the unit quite hard to operate, especially with one finger. So when you're in a high workload approach phase, when you need to adjust that vertical speed quickly and precisely, that resistance becomes an operational problem because you can't precisely dial in that vertical speed, at least not easily. Now, this part matters. WingFlex sent me this unit specifically to get early feedback before the production run. They are aware of this issue, and it will likely be corrected in the final version. But I'm telling you about this now because you need to know the exact state of the unit at launch. If they fix that knob on the production version, this would become the ultimate desktop autopilot unit. But if it ships with the same resistance, that changes the verdict entirely. So, is a stiff vertical speed knob on a pre-production unit a reason to walk away? Here's how I'd frame it. If you're buying this during the early bird launch window from June the 13th through to the 30th, you're paying $139 US. If WingFlex resolves that resistance issue, you're in a good position. And if they don't, you have a fully functional panel that has one slight issue, and it is still usable. If you're buying it after June 30th at the full price of $179 US, I'd hold off until we have a confirmation on the production feedback. Don't pay the standard price for something that might still carry this issue. Here's what's in the box: the unit, a stand, a USB cable, 2 screws, and an Allen key. The stand itself is wide enough to sit stable on a desk without needing an existing home cockpit. No mounts required, no cockpit frame. This works straight off of your desk, which removes one of the main barriers for a lot of the GA hardware. One note on that stand though: when pressing the buttons forcefully or scrolling the vertical speed knob under load, the stand does shift. Now, thankfully, because of the size and design, your hand naturally rests on top of it while using it, so you kind of grab it in a way to anchor it. It's a minor inconvenience, but it's one you can't really get around. At $139 US on launch, with the vertical speed knob corrected, this is the most versatile autopilot panel at this price point. HID compatibility, aircraft remapping, and the build quality of this unit at $139 has no direct competitor right now. And even at $179, it's still really good, but only after that knob situation is resolved. But let me know down in the comments what you guys are thinking. Whether you're already building out a GA setup or you're holding off and waiting for the right piece. I want to hear where you're at. Now, the link will be down in the description if you want to check it out, and a big thanks to WingFlex for sending over this early production unit. But as always, make sure to hit like, get subscribed, and until next time, I'll catch you then.